awesome.
Thank you.
All right, Randy. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
We're continuing our journey into the frame drum with Randy Gloss, percussionist and director of World Percussion,
Right.
World Music Studies at CalArts.
Emperor of the world.
Emperor of World Studies through drumming. Yeah, we've been trying to get this get together for a while, and so I'm so glad that we're able to do this.
I'm thrilled to be here.
So we're looking at frame drumming. We did another video on what do you call freehand style.
Freestyle.
Freestyle, which was holding down in the, let's call it the hand drum position down here, where you might play bongos or cajon or congas, that style. This is a little bit different.
Yeah, I think that, even a lot of players that play in this position, we talked about earlier about knowing that history. You can't play a frame drum in this position and not talk about Glenn Velez.
Mm-hmm.
Even though John Bergamo was my mentor, my teacher, I really think that Glenn deserves a lot of credit. He's a game changer.
Absolutely.
And so basically the story as I know it is Patrick Cooperman's father, Pat Sr., they started making Irish bowron. And for anyone who knows the Irish bowron, it's played on the lap with a tipper in this way. He liked the idea of a frame drum being played on the lap in this position, but a traditional Irish bowron is small and thick-headed and thuddy sounding. And so he asked Pat Sr., can you make like a Irish bowron, but make it very oversized and put a thin skin on it? And that became this kind of Western Americanized bowron, this 22-inch frame drum with the crossbars in the back. That
I think I have one over there.
Popularized in the, late 80s, early 90s, and Cooperman has been making ever since.
Yeah.
There's no history of that. It is not, we're talking about tradition versus kind of contemporizing things. Yeah. There is no tradition of a 22-inch bowron in Ireland.
No.
This is totally Glenn's concoction of allowing him to take all of these Indian techniques, Azerbaijani techniques, Arabic techniques, Persian rhythms, Brazilian rhythms, Indian rhythms, and kind of put it in a melting pot and stir the pot. The pot was a 22-inch bowron.
Yeah.
And so it was a non-traditional instrument. And now everybody who plays on this position, I think, owes a little bit of a tip of the cap to Glenn.
Absolutely. Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you, Glenn.
And by the way, if you don't know who Glenn Velez is,
go check him out.
Check it out when you're done here. So, so this is an 18.
This is an 18.
And it's the, I guess, is this is a Glenn Velez model or no?
No, this is just the standard Cooperman.
Okay.
The reason, I love Glenn's drums, but he prefers a lighter wood, and I like heavier drums. I find that heavier drums are more stable when I'm playing. They don't move around as much. And that the heavier drum just gives me more depth of sound. It's just a deeper, richer sound.
Sounds
so this
great.
is Cooperman cherry wood, which is a hardwood that they do very well at Cooperman.
Yeah, and yes, also shout out to Patrick and all the Cooperman folks. Hey guys, and gals, go check out Cooperman. Is it Cooperman Fife and Drum?
I believe so.
CoopermanDrumCompany.com.
Something like that. But if you just Google Cooperman or Cooperman frame drums or Cooperman Fife and drum, you'll get there.
Like that.
Yeah.
All right, so so what are we doing here, technique-wise? Just an introduction.
Sure. So in this position, it conjures up different feelings. So as far as even simple things, if I think about this idea of open and close we were talking about before, low and high. If I think about bass tones, that bass tone is different timbre than that bass tone is different than that bass tone. So even just playing with just different gradients of that. Same with my edge. So the first thing that I'm always doing is thinking about the shades of gray between that black and white. So even if I'm playing the edge, is it a sharp edge or is it a little bit more of a smoother edge? Am I playing this bass tone or this bass tone? So I always start with just simple ideas and just mess around with that. If I take just right on the edge, really sharp, and I move it in now. Rhythm is still there, that contour is still there, but that sharpness goes away. The timbre changes.
Yes, a little bit softer, warmer.
So simple things, but exploring where you play and strike the drum, that's the first step. Second thing is I was applying some different finger rolls, kind of things that I was showing in this position, but now putting them in this position. Then from there, this kind of playing, this is evocative of Glenn's style, but for me, I really think about that split hand of the tabla or other Indian drums. That all those techniques come out in this way.
And that's getting into that I guess, upper echelon of techniques where you're applying them in that way. Let's go back to just the basic how to hold the drum and be comfortable. Because sometimes people struggle with the top hand a little bit. It becomes kind of awkward. So let's just talk about that for a second.
I believe that in drumming, there's really one position that your body kind of wants to do in a natural way. And then from there, it's about just opening the gate to accept the drum. So for example, I always tell my students, like you have a beautiful swimming pool. Let's imagine we're just kind of floating in that swimming pool. When we do that, there's a moment where your body is just happening, but you're not making it happen.
Right.
And when you kind of find that place and you open your eyes, you'll notice that your elbows are not tucked in, nor are they extended out. There's a natural place where they want to sit. Your shoulders are not going to be up by your ears.
Hopefully.
Right? They're going to be in this relaxed thing. So there's all of a sudden there's this posture happening. All of a sudden when I find that position, now I could be playing tabla, I could be playing snare drum, I could be playing marimba, I could be playing my pandero. When I'm playing my frame drum, all I'm doing is opening the gate to accept that drum. But my posture, how I think about where my elbows, where my shoulders, it's all coming from that natural place.
That is a great piece of advice right there. Just an observation, really. But
And so all of a sudden, if I think about that natural place, you'll see that nothing has changed except that I've opened now my hands to kind of accept the instrument. And so in doing so, my hand is sitting at 12 o'clock, which means gravity will hold that drum. The moment that my hand is off center, now I run the risk of it shooting out, right? But if I'm kind of right there at 12 o'clock, gravity will hold it. And I'm not doing this because everything's a chain reaction. The moment that comes up, this goes up.
Right.
But if I think about that natural place, and then that won't happen.
Yeah, and you want to conserve energy too. And anytime you're engaging a muscle, that takes energy, and that's potential tension, right? Which is a groove killer, literally and figuratively.
Even in tone production, the other thing is I think about in that natural position, where my drum is sitting, I have full range of motion across the drum head, meaning I'm not reaching around the instrument to find weird angles, but a nice straight line. Okay? Then if I look this way, the tone is all coming out this way. If I were to square the drum, now the tone would go into my body. I would be a buffer. I would absorb the sound. Now the sound will project. So in finding that natural place, it not only unlocks my body, but it also unlocks the sound of the instrument.
Yeah, and that being said, I just want to say for people listening, we do have a mic that's right up here, which is probably not where I would normally mic this. Where we would probably put a mic in the back, just if we were making a record or something, having a recording, or if you were live on stage. So if you're going to mic this drum, wouldn't you recommend? Is that what you do? That's what I see. From,
absolutely. I think that it's always a question of what do you want to reach the audience with the most in a live situation. I mean, obviously, there's different details. If I mic the front, I'm going to get a lot of the finger sound and the skin sound, but I'm going to lose that resonance because all the air is moving this way.
Right.
If I put the mic behind, that's where the resonance,
you're
the
going to
tone,
get more,
the body.
So maybe both would be ideal, right?
But if I have only one, I always go for the back because that gives me, then my drum doesn't sound thin, it sounds full and rich. Right. That's the trade-off. So if I had one, I would go from the back.
Okay.
If I'm in a studio situation, now maybe there's a stereo overhead pair, maybe there's one in the back, maybe there's one. You get a little crazy.
And you could dial it in.
That's right.
Okay, good. But so for that, just a piece of advice. So I love this. So let's just think about it. So 12 o'clock position, holding, comfortable, relaxed, and then this angle, and then basic strokes.
Basic strokes.
Just go low, high.
Low and high, and we could give them names. We could say doom and tech, and doom is my bass tone, and I could do that either with all four fingers. I can do that with my thumb, and notice even where it's placed. If we looked at our tabla head, there was three sections, right? The edge, that kind of sweet spot, and the center. Even though the frame drum doesn't have that black spot, I still have a very ticky sound in the center. I have the most resonant spot in that middle third. And I have a more edge nasally sound on the rim of the drum. So all those sounds are still there. And so I can explore that. So if I want to play a bass tone, how deep do I want the bass? And so using the knuckle of my side of my thumb gives me a different kind of drumstick than using the tip of my finger. It's different than using all four fingers or curved fingers. So I explore. Don't be afraid to explore. How many different ways are there? How many shades of red, right? How many shades of blue?
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the drum.
It is. It allows you to play the drum how you want to play it. That's not only comfortable, but it just, feels right. And
Well, then it becomes this exploration. You have this such a simple instrument, but unlike, let's say, as a drum set player, I say, oh, I'm going to add another sound. Let me add another cymbal, another drum. There's no adding. It's all right here on one membrane.
Right.
How can I extract all the sound? So it forces, or it encourages, not force, it encourages you to explore.
Yeah.
And okay, if I strike the drum this way, it's one sound. If I strike it with a flat finger, what if I hit it with my fingernails?
Right.
Right? What if I scratch the drum? What if I scratch it with my nails, or I rub it with the pads of my fingers? Every time, what if, let that be the mantra. Because if you think, what if I do it this way? What if I hit it this way? What if I try it that way? You will always find some new sound, some new color.
Yeah.
It never gets old.
That's so true. Great advice, for all of you that are looking to learn and explore. When you're practicing, just take note of a sound. Even if it's maybe not the sound you're going for, techniques are on a spectrum, right? I mean, I think that's what I'm getting from what you're saying here, is there's bass sounds, but there could be one bass technique, maybe you think of that as your main technique, but then from there, lots of variations. And the more you practice, the more you repeat a certain action, the more you're going to dial in that, so that when you have that inclination to play that different little bit bass sound, it's literally at your fingertips, and you can execute it. So that's the end result, is that you want to achieve some mastery, so that what you're feeling, or when you're playing, you have sort of an inclination, and it just kind of flows out, and it's not haphazard. It could be haphazard in the beginning, and that's fine. That's how we learn.
Yeah, that's part of the exploration too. But if you find something you like, take stock of it.
Take stock, and then then you get into developing the muscle memory, so that it's just an automatic thing, like where Randy's gotten to with the technique. So could you take us out with another little short solo?
Sure.
And before we go, I want to thank everybody for watching.
Thank you.
Remember, you can connect with Randy at randygloss.com. So Randy at randygloss.com, and rgloss
at calarts.edu.
calarts.edu.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
World Drum Club.